I relabeled every soda in the office fridge. So I work in a small office, like 20 people, and we have this one fridge in the break room that everybody shares, and the rule has always been pretty simple. You put your name on your stuff, nobody touches it. That's it. That's the whole system. And honestly, it worked fine for the 2 years I've been there. Then Brianna started in March. I don't drink coffee, I never have. I get my caffeine from these Mexican Cokes, the ones in the glass bottles, and I buy them by the case at the store near my apartment because nowhere close to the office sells them. They're like $2 a bottle. I bring in 6 on Monday, 1 for each day plus a spare, and I write my initials on the cap in Sharpie. Every single one. Around the second week of April, I went to grab mine after lunch, and there were 4 left instead of 5. I figured I miscounted. Next day, 3, then 2. So I asked in the group chat, real casual, like, hey, is somebody grabbing my Cokes? Not mad, just checking. And Brianna replies almost immediately, the fridge is communal lol, just that, with the lol. I said, they have my initials on them though. She said, you can't really claim shared space. That's kind of the point of a break room. I looked at my monitor for a second. Then I walked over to her desk and there was a glass bottle sitting right there next to her keyboard with my initials on the cap, and she was drinking it while typing an email. She saw me looking and she goes, oh, did you want this one? I said, I wanted all of them. That's why I wrote my name on them. And she laughed. Not a mean laugh, that's the thing. She laughed like I'd said something a little bit cute and a little bit sad, and she said, it's a soda, relax. So I went to Dennis, who runs the office, and Dennis is a nice guy who has never in his life wanted to be involved in anything. And he said he'd put out a reminder, and he did. He sent an email, subject line was break room etiquette. Brianna replied, all with a thumbs up emoji. 2 days later, 4 bottles gone in one afternoon. She'd brought them to a meeting. She handed one to a client. She handed my Coke to a client and said, we keep these stocked, they're great. That was the part that got me. Not the stealing. The we keep these stocked. So that weekend I went to the store and I bought 2 cases, 12 bottles, and I also bought from a completely different store a bottle of this stuff called Beverly. If you don't know Beverly, it's an Italian aperitif soda they hand out at the Coca-Cola Museum in Atlanta as a joke. It's a real drink. It's just aggressively, punishingly bitter. People film themselves gagging on it. I have a little countertop carbonation set up at home. I opened 12 Mexican Cokes, dumped them, rinsed them, and refilled every single one with Beverly. Recapped them with the crimper my dad gave me when I got into homebrewing. They looked perfect. Dark, fizzy, sweating in the glass. I wrote my initials on every cap. Monday morning, I put all 12 in the fridge, which is more than I'd ever brought in before, and I made a point of walking past Brianna's desk carrying the case so she'd see. I brought my actual Coke in my bag and kept it in my desk drawer. By Tuesday at 2 p.m. there were 9. Nobody said anything. I want to be clear that nobody said anything, because that's what I was counting on. She wasn't going to admit she drank 1. Wednesday, 6. Thursday, 3. Thursday around 4 p.m. she finally came to my desk and she was holding one half empty and she said, did these go bad or something? They taste really weird. And I said, the ones with my initials on them? She said, the ones in the fridge. I said, those are the ones with my initials on them. She stood there, and I watched her run the whole thing in her head, all of it, every bottle since April, and land on the only 2 options available to her. Either she says nothing, or she says out loud, in an open plan office, with Dennis 11 feet away, that she's been drinking 8 of my sodas a week for 2 months and would like a refund. She said, you should probably throw those out. I said, why? They're mine. She put the bottle down on my desk, still half full, walked away. There are 4 left in the fridge. Nobody's touched one since.